I want you to see the God that is able to pull you out when you think this is it. It's all over. It's all finished. I believe that God was calling me out of Barbados to a ministry that I don't know where. But to be honest with you, I was excited in a way because I was hoping it's going to be to the US. The US, finally. But sometimes God needs to take us out of our comfort zone to see the real who you are. It's Canada. It must be Canada. Wow. That was reality. When I understood the call of God to move from Barbados, I told her, God is telling us to move. Telling me, I think God is saying, let's move. Obviously, I suggested the US. So I respect her opinion very much. I did not take it upon myself to decide, I am the preacher, I'm the man of God, I say this, I'm the head of this house, and this is what we're doing. I never operated like that. I respect that if God can speak to me, God can speak to her. So I always valued her opinion. And she said to me, honey, let's pray and wait and see where is God wanted to take us. I talked to my son about it as well. And my son and my wife decided it's Canada. It must be Canada. But they had motives too, right? They were coming to Canada for years. They like Canada. I was going to the US for years. I like the US. So I didn't have a problem with that. But we waited on God. And I remember distinctly one morning at about 6 o'clock, my wife got up and she said to me, honey, I'm ready to leave this place. I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm ready to leave Barbados. Let's make the move. So I was hoping that next thing she was going to say was, US, here we come. But that didn't happen. So I went to the meeting in Canada and it went well. And in my spirit, I knew God was convicting me of, it's Canada, it's not the US, son. You can all you want, but it's not the US. So slowly, I begin to conform to the fact that, okay, this is what God wants. But I didn't tell my family. I continued with the US talk to make sure that they were on the right path. And I weren't able to persuade them. Because if it's God, I won't be able to persuade them. But if it's not God, I can persuade them. So I never told them, okay. Even after in my spirit, I was comfortable with the fact that it's Canada. I still didn't tell them. I continued to talk US because I wanted to see that they're going to stand firm. And so they did stand firm. We sold what we had to get rid of and we decided, okay, this is it. We're moving to Canada. I want you to understand the excitement though, because people thought my son was bougie. But it's not that my son was bougie, my son was well raised. So my son liked the good things, the finer things of life. My daughter was 3 then. They knew what good things are. When we decided to move to Canada and I had the meeting, my family was excited and we were all excited because we're moving to a new country, a new ministry, a new life. But let me say this real quick. When you believe that you are in the center of the will of God, there's no better feeling than that. And that's where I believe that we were, because God said to me, prepare to move. And then he confirmed the move was to Canada. So we know that we were doing what God said to do. So we moved to Canada 2016. We were fully excited. God's will but never lead you where his grace can't keep you. I wasn't expecting what was next. Because when you give up everything you have, your home, your life, your family, or your comfort zone, and you move to a country, you expect a better life. But what's a better life? What's a better life? So we got settled, and one Sunday, about 5 months after, one Sunday we went to church. As usual, I was to the front where the minister sat, and my wife was somewhere a couple of benches behind me, and somebody reminded me that they saw her that morning worshiping God, man, and all that. But I remember when we got home the afternoon, I saw my wife at the door, and I looked at her, but I was looking in her spirit, and I realized that something is wrong. But let's be real, nobody wants to dwell on the fact that something may be wrong. So she went upstairs and lied down, and I went and make her a fruit smoothie. I was sitting downstairs, and the Spirit of God said to me, go and see how she's doing. And when I went up the stairs, my wife was to the top of the stairs trying to make her way down the stairs. Now, that may sound like a regular routine, but when I explain to you now why it scared the lights out of me, what we didn't know is that she was having a stroke. So if she had reached to the top of the stairs, she could have fell down the stairs. So I grabbed her, and I realized what on earth is happening. Anyhow, we called the ambulance, and we went to the hospital, and realized that she was having a stroke. Wow, that was reality. She went to the hospital, I went with her, and the next day, there was joy again. Because she recovered so well that we were in the room the night talking, and we were laughing, and the doctor said, what, all you do too is laugh? That's all you do is laugh all the time? And we said, yeah. And the doctor said to her, I can't believe you just had a stroke. Look at you. So she was hugging people and stuff. So the joy, even though she had a stroke, and that was sad, but the next day the joys began to come back because she was doing good. So the doctors told me they're gonna keep her for 2 days observation. I told my kids that the night. So my kids didn't bother to go and look for her because mommy's gonna be home in 2 days, right? As I said, these are things I never spoke about before. So as long as that may be, it's still really fresh because I've never verbalized them much. So I told my kids, mommy's coming home in 2 days, and so my son and I, we made plans of how we can help her, how we can do this, and we were happy again. Even though she had the stroke, we were happy again. The next day, they said she's coming home in 2 days. So we began to make preparations for that. And I remember that was a Sunday night, and I remember the Monday I went to look for her at the hospital. Again, she was high spirits. She was doing stuff, brushing her own teeth, all kinds of stuff she was doing. And we were happy again. And I left the hospital about 10 o'clock the night. And when I went home, my kids were there, dad, how was mom, whatever, no kids. They were in front of me. I want you to picture this. They were in front of me. And I'm talking to them, and my phone rang. And I took the phone and I answered the phone. I said, hi, and the person on the phone said, is this Mr. Haynes? I said, yes, it is. And I realized straight away it was the hospital. And in my mind, I just left the hospital, so why they're calling me? The next thing the lady said to me, we're calling from the hospital, and we want you to know that your wife's heart just stopped. Now, I want you to understand that my kids are standing in front of me. I had to take this call as though it's good news. So I said, okay. Y'all be there soon, okay, thank you. With a smile, but I look at my two kids. And I said to myself, how am I going to tell them? They're expecting mommy home. And so I said to them, Daddy has to run back to the hospital. And my son, he's very smart. He said, why are you going back to the hospital, Daddy? What's wrong with mommy? I said, she's fine. They're just going back to see some stuff. Maybe whatever. I don't remember what I said. But I really concocted a good story. Because they said, okay, Daddy, see you soon. And I left, and it was the longest trip to the hospital. Even though the hospital was like 15 minutes away. When I got to the hospital, they said to me, your wife, her heart just stopped. She's in ICU. And so I went to her in ICU and I pleaded with her. I pleaded with her not to go. I said, whatever you do, don't leave. She just lied there. She was unconscious. That was the same Monday night. And so the Tuesday, all day, I was at the hospital. And I had to watch my wife's heart start and stop 14 times. And every time it stopped, I would pray to God, don't do it. And it would beat again, and I would rejoice. And the doctor said to me, sir, I'm telling you now, prepare to let her go. I said, no, she's walking out of here. And sometimes people talk about faith, but you got to preach it and you got to talk it until whenever you receive it, because it's the only way you're going to live. The Bible says without faith it's impossible to please God. When I pleaded with her again the next day, don't leave. And she just laid there. She never regained consciousness. Eventually, the doctor came in and I heard the worst news of my life. I heard the worst words I've ever heard. Do you think curse words is bad? Do you think telling somebody about their mother is bad? That's not bad. I heard the worst words. Your wife didn't make it. Those was the worst words I've ever heard in my life. Then I had to deal with that, and then when I got home, I had to tell my kids. The same kids I told mom was coming home in 2 days. I had to tell them, Mom is dead. But you see, it goes deeper than that, because they didn't go to see her. So they never saw her for the last time. And there was a time I used to blame myself for that, for stopping my kids from seeing their mom, but I only did it because she was coming home. My daughter, a couple of weeks after that, she said to me, this is a 3-year-old. How come it is that last night I heard men in mommy's room, but I wasn't allowed to go in mommy's room? That was the paramedics, right? And I told her because they were looking after mommy. But I think that, you know, they didn't get to see her. They didn't get to say goodbye because she was coming home. And so after she died and all that taking place, I remember distinctly that there was the funeral, there was the wake, there was the autopsy, there was everything. And all that has passed. But I was still at the place where my wife has gone to the hospital. I haven't gotten past that as yet. The funeral was gone, everything was gone. But I'm still in the place where my wife has gone to the hospital, she'll be home. And I have a friend whose name is Susan. I was at the mall one day and my phone rang. And when I took up the phone, I saw Susan calling. And I got happy in the mall. I began to smile. I said, you see, I know my wife is not dead. She's calling me. Until a couple seconds after I realized, that's the wrong Susan. That's the wrong Susan. And I got sad again. Now, I'm a preacher, for who don't know that. And God has given to me many gifts. And I'm going to tell you this. I've seen God deliver people from demon possession. I've prayed for people who were in mental institution and came out. I've prayed for people who were dead and see them come alive. All that I've seen. But it's the first time in my life I ever had to pray for my own sanity. I felt I was going to lose my mind. Yes, I'm a preacher, yeah. But can I be real with you? I felt like I was going to lose my mind. I felt as though God didn't hear me when I was praying and asking her not to leave. But in the middle of it, you know what God did? When I thought I was going to lose my mind, He showed me that He has a way of escape. I have a friend of mine who's a pastor, Pastor Kelman, my very good friend, and he came from Barbados for the funeral. And I remember one day I was in bed, and for me, that was it. I didn't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do nothing. I had my 2 kids. I have my sister there. I have my best friend from England there. But I did not want to get out of that bed. I was finished with that. And my best friend from Barbados, Pastor Kelman, he came into the bedroom. And he lied down next to me in the other bed. And he just looked at me. And he never said one word. He just looked at me like this. And every time I look away and look back, he was just looking at me like this. I'm thinking, who's depressing, me or him? Why is he staring at me like this? But I'm telling you something. My sister talked to me, my father, my best friend, my kids. But the silence of my friend was the most powerful word that I heard. The silence. He said nothing. I can't even tell you what he was thinking. And then it happened again, and he did the same thing. And it took God sending him to Canada to that funeral, but God sent him for more than the funeral. God sent him to pull me from a point of my life where it was just darkness. It was nothing. It was nothing else mattered around me to pull me out of that bed than when my friend just lied in the other bed and just looked at me. So I know that was the main reason that God sent him to Canada. Many think that the hurt was over, but not over, but at least the worst part of it, which is the fact that she had died. There were people who were, and it's amazing that, it doesn't matter for people will always say what people want to say. And you can imagine at a time like that, when you need people to hold your hand and give your shoulder, that people were saying, that the cold was too much for her, and that's what got her the stroke, and those things was hurting me, because I want to set that record straight this evening. The cold had nothing to do with my wife dying. As I said, when they were talking, I was spending thousands of dollars with my own investigation to find out why or what happened. And then we found out that my wife had a heart problem that she didn't know about. And so the stroke was not the problem. The heart was the problem. She died from a heart attack. Eventually, after starting and stopping, after having 14 cardiac arrests. Sometimes we talk things that we don't know nothing about. And I want people to understand. Sometimes we talk things that cause more hurt and cause more damage to people, and just be silent. Like my friend, he just lied and he was just silent. And a lot of things that people were saying was causing me additional hurt, because while they were talking, the talking was hurting. I didn't even know what they were talking about. But I'm glad this evening that Salt and Crown has produced the opportunity to help somebody to realize that at your lowest point, God is still there for you. God will make a way out for you. And I don't know what you're going through, whatever it is that you're going through. It's hard. It seems like there's no way out. It seems like this is it. This is the end. But I come to tell you this evening that wherever you're at, God can pull you out of it and make something special out of your life. Did I understand that then? No. Did I hurt then? Yes. Was I angry? Of course I was. Am I okay now? Sometimes. Am I happy? Not like I was. Am I going to be happy? Yeah. I'm going happy again. And my daughter is now 6. My son is now 19. And when I look at them, and my daughter asked for her mom, and I had a conversation with my daughter about having a new mom a couple months ago, and she said, yeah, Dad, I would like a new mom. And then a couple of weeks after, I thought she had forgotten. She said to me, Dad, what's taking the new mom so long? So there are some positives to look at. And at the end of the day, I can look back and see the hurt, the disappointment, the ripping to pieces, the future, because we were so happy that there's a new start for us. And in 6 months, she was gone, taken from us. I felt like the rug was dragged from under me. I didn't know what to do, where to go, where to turn. I didn't even know. Sometimes crying didn't even make sense. You know, a matter of fact, I told some person that I never knew crying was this easy. I remember as a child, you got to get licks. And when you get licks, as you get the lashes, the cry would swell up and swell up and swell up and then come out. But there's a hurt that just produces tears. And I remember telling some person, I was trying to explain the hurt to some person, and this is the best way I could have explained it. Last week I talked about my first baby that died. When my first baby died, that hurt me. When my mom died, my mom, when I was very close, they used to call me my mom king. I used to love that. Get good treatment. My other six siblings, they would say, "Now you're your mom king." But when my mom died, I thought my world was done. And I said to God in my car in Barbados, I said to God, if loving like that and then losing the person caused you to hurt like this, I will never love like that again. And God said to me, you got a wife. You got a son. You're going to hold back your love for your family because of hurt? And I repented and I tell God I'm sorry. But I remember, as I said before, trying to explain to some person the hurt that I was feeling. And I said, when my son died, it rocked my world. When my mom died, it devastated me. But when my wife died, I felt the pain was worse than my mother and my son put together. You can't imagine that. There's no way you can imagine that. I felt like my mother and my son pain together was nothing in comparison to what I was feeling when my wife died. We built a life together. We did everything together. The clothes that I wear, we bought. The house that we had, we bought. The cars that we had, we bought. The jewelry that I have, we bought. Everything. So there's no... When you spend half your life with some person, everything around you reflects that person. I just want to encourage you this evening because God will make a way out. Just watch how he's going to do it. He sent my friend and my friend said nothing, and that was the turning point for me to reality. That was a point that said to me, okay, Baldwyn, this really happened, but you can do this. And the second thing I want to say to people is that when people are hurting and you don't know their circumstances, you don't know what they're going through or what they've been through, or stop jumping to conclusions. Stop saying things that you know nothing about, because you are doing more harm than good to people who are already broken. But this evening, take courage from this. My daughter was 3 and my son was 16. And in a new country, God allowed my wife to go. But God brought me to a point where I could breathe again. I can focus again. I can try to live again. And I remember someone said something to me, but you got life. And I said, what life? What life do I have? I didn't want to buy a home because my wife is not going to live in it. I didn't want to buy a car because she's not going to drive it. I don't want to go down the street because she was not going to be with me. I don't want to watch television because she's not going to be next to me. Understand the human mind. I nearly lost it. But God sent someone to pull me from that point. And I want to say to you this evening, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, I want you to trust that God will bring you out of it. It's not too late. You're not too far gone. Don't mind what people say. God didn't condemn you. Don't let nobody condemn you and put you down. There's hope for you wherever you're at, wherever point you're at. There's hope for you that you can come back and you can bounce back and you can be somebody and you can be happy again. I speak it this evening. We will be happy again. We will have a family, a complete family again. My wife, she's gone. And that hurt may have lasted for as long as it may. I don't know how long it's going to last, but every now and then it will hurt. But yeah, we're going to be happy again. My kids, myself, and there will be somebody else. And we're going to be happy again. We're going to be a family again. A complete family. When I said a complete family, I mean there will be another wife again. I don't know why Jody and James are laughing, but the Bible says you have to speak those things that are not as though they already are. I love to love, I love to be loved. So yes, I would want to have a wife again and be happy again. But that's ahead. But for now, let me encourage you. If God can bring me out of that place, He can bring you out of wherever you are. Just believe Him. Don't give up. Don't matter who give up on you, because people give up on. Look, I've had some friends that was close to me. There are lessons to learn during times like this, right? And one of the lessons I learned is that friends are only friends when they could be your friend. And when it benefit them in being your friend. I had some very close, what I thought were close friends, who up to now, over 3 years now my wife died, have not once reached out to me. Have not once said, how are you doing? Have not once said, is everything going all right? But that's all right. The Bible says that Jesus is the friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So my word to you this evening is that I've shared with you some things that I've been in here for 3 years now. Let it be an encouragement to you. Wherever you're at, wherever your hurt is, I am telling you, God can bring you back and make something out of you. Your smile can return. Your happiness can return. Your joy can return. It can all come back. Don't let nobody put a time limit on you. You and God are always a majority.